So, Laura, welcome to Pasadena Symphony in Conversation. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
So,
nice to see you too.
No, thank you. Yeah, tell me how you're doing, where you are, everything.
Well, I am at home. I'm in my office, which is one of the only places in the house that I have a door that will lock and good internet connection.
It's like the two things you need in quarantine.
I've aimed the camera at the one corner of the room that isn't messy, basically. And just trying to keep our heads above water. I mean, speaking of mess, so I was just chatting with Brett and telling him I have two kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old. He's about to turn 4.
3-year-old must be tricky.
So, and they're home all the time. So they, just keeping ahead of the mess is kind of a full-time job.
What do they think is going on? Or they, like, the 3-year-old obviously isn't going to be able to.
Not a clue. And then my 8-year-old, he does basically understand what's going on. And every time he asks me, "Mom, can we go here?" I say no. Oh, coronavirus.
Okay, so now let's talk music.
For lack thereof.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like decimated. Well, any projects that you're like, I wanted to learn all 24 Paganini caprices on the oboe, and now I'm going to do it.
I probably shouldn't admit this here. I've been kind of enjoying a little vacation from the oboe.
Everyone's doing that. Yeah.
Well, it's partly because of the lack of alone time that I mentioned before. I mean, my kids are home 24/7, and when they're asleep, I usually am passed out.
Right.
So what I'm doing, though, what I'm finding I'm really drawn towards is practicing. I'm playing like every instrument that I own that isn't the oboe.
Oh, fun.
So I'm playing.
I've been hearing a lot of that, too.
Yeah, so I've been spending some time, like I actually took some time and made some reeds. I have all of these like weird sizes of oboe. So I actually have a piccolo oboe.
Oh, wow.
And an oboe d'amore and a bass oboe. And it's one of those things that usually I'm like, I don't have time
to make the reeds for
yeah, exactly. So I made some piccolo oboe reeds. That was one of my first projects. I've been practicing my theremin. I've been practicing the piano, which
I forgot about the theremin. Oh, you're gonna have to demo that for us, maybe in one of these. Maybe you can send me a video later.
Yeah, I have it. It's sitting. Okay, pardon the mess, but it's sitting right there.
Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah.
But I can't play it for you right now because I don't have it hooked up to an amp. I've been using it with headphones.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe if you do and can send a little video, that would be amazing. Because part of this has been about like just finding out hidden talents from everyone in the orchestra. It's wild. It's really amazing.
I mean, I think, yeah, and people are also discovering that they have talents that even they didn't know that they had.
Right. Yeah, one of them is just
like... I just didn't ever think that I would learn how to skateboard in my 40s, but
okay, so let me hear about the skateboarding. I mean, you're just sitting around one day and you're like, let's do this?
Well, it does sound a little random, doesn't it? My son decided that he wanted to learn, and he actually saved up his money and bought one.
Oh, nice.
I've been teaching him how to online shop. That's one of his main
okay, do not do
lessons.
that.
Yeah, he's been online shopping. Well, it has to all be approved by me because
good.
At least 2 more weeks. He doesn't have a credit card. But he picks out what he wants, and then he tells me what he wants and gives me the cash, and then I buy it for him.
Nice.
So he bought a skateboard.
Okay.
And then my husband decided to buy a skateboard, too. And I was rolling my eyes, going like, oh my gosh, are you serious? But they were we have this nice long flat driveway, and they just kept sitting there, and I just kind of kept jumping on the thing going like, oh, this feels weird. And then one day I jumped on it and it felt natural.
Oh, wow.
So then I started just riding it around the neighborhood a little bit. I mean, I'm not doing tricks. Just riding the thing.
You're not Tony Hawk
but
yet.
I've been probably not gonna happen. The idea of my body hitting the pavement is a little more than I can handle, but
yeah, be careful. Okay, so you are principal oboe of the Pasadena Symphony, and you are like one of the most active just musicians in general in town, but oboists. So This is truth.
Not anymore.
Right. But so tell me kind of like what's the word on the street and some of the ensembles you play with and what's going on around town.
Well, boy, I mean, as I'm sure everybody knows, I mean, the outlook for live performance is pretty grim.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really pretty grim. But one of the things that I've been working on, and I'm really excited about this, is because I'm a officer with the Recording Musicians Association. We've started to get into talks with Local 47 and actually reaching out to leadership in other unions, so like the Actors Union and the Editors Guild, and also some of the people who work at the scoring stages here in town, and trying to put together a list of protocols for safety that is then going to be approved by the county, hopefully, and then we will be given permission to go back to work, presumably doing sessions in a much smaller scale than we were doing them before. So
and much more spread
right now
out.
there's remote recording that's happening, and that's really, really challenging in a lot of ways. I mean, it's challenging for the musicians who are now having to learn how to be engineers.
Right.
And it's also really, from what I understand, I mean, I'm not an expert in this at all, but from what I understand, the people putting it together are having a really difficult time blending things together to make it sound like an orchestra instead of 20 people recording it with different microphones and different acoustics. So in a lot of ways, it would be a lot easier to start doing what they call striping sessions, which is where they would have the woodwinds together and the percussion together and the strings, or maybe part of the strings together at one time, and just have everybody spread out. So at least, so you're safe, but you're at least still being recorded in the same room, and people can hear each other and respond to each other musically, which, is again not something that's really possible in remote recording situations.
To actually,
I mean, of course, remote recording is 100% safe, so that's an advantage there. But
social distancing the orchestra could work. That could really work. And the sound stages are so enormous that you don't really need to have a stand partner or be around anyone, in theory.
Right. Well, and so the task force that's developed, and the union sent out an email about it yesterday, so hopefully everybody read all about it, but our president is now part of a larger task force. I mean, our local president, John Acosta, is part of a larger task force, and there's now one that's kind of spinning off that's going to be dealing with live performance. But again, we all know it's possible to think about spacing out a chamber orchestra on stage, and there's even been studies done about how contagious are wind instruments, for example. Like, how far does a trombone spread micro droplets or whatever? So there's studies being done about that.
There are? I didn't know that. Oh my God.
I don't know how incredibly scientific they are, but all over the world, this is something that people are dealing with, and a lot of people are putting their heads together. I mean, it's been a really cool collaboration in that, we're actually talking to people in London and in New York and all over the place about how to get this happening. And there's big studies being done in Germany that we're reading about. So it's been really, really interesting. But as we all know, well, on the live performance end, you're going to have more trouble with the audience than you are with the orchestra.
Right. Yeah, I saw the Berlin Phil did a Mahler 4, 15 players spread out.
And then even in the recording world, which granted, luckily, we don't have the audience to worry about in person anyway, but there's still the issue of how do people go to the restroom safely, and how do you get in and out? Like, do you have to space entrances? It's really quite logistically complicated.
So it's complicated logistically, but seems kind of optimistic. At least everyone's working on this, and it is possible.
Right. Well, again, on the recording end, there's certain projects that people have been trying to finish up that were already filmed, but the next problem we have is, since they can't film, there's not going to really be anything to record.
That's what I was, when everyone started running around buying microphones, I thought, wait a minute, what exactly are we going to be recording here? Well, few things in the can, and then $3,000 later, this gorgeous microphone.
Right, right. Well, and then a lot of people, I mean, people live downtown where there's noise all the time.
Oh.
People have children who make noise all the time. I mean, it's really, really difficult.
Well, I was thinking that even could be like a pod. You'd have pod colleagues. Like, I'm already talking to a couple colleagues where maybe I'll just go over to their place and we'll do it together, you know, record together. Sorry.
Right. That's what I've done. Well, I'm sorry, not pod. I've been, for the couple of remote recording things I've done, I just went to a friend's private studio.
Yeah, because it's the learning curve is also, it's like all this equipment and
well, there's a lot of people who are really making amazing. Well, there's been people who've been doing it for years.
Right.
Already, certain people, rhythm section people, this is really kind of normal to them. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people who just jumped right on the bandwagon and really have taken off with it. And I really applaud them. But you know, for me, I just haven't gotten enough work to really worry about it. And like I said, I have a friend studio that I can rent for a reasonable amount of money, so I just figured it was more financially intelligent to do it that way. But you know, again, we'll see. No one knows really if we're talking about 3 months or 2 years. So very, very scary. But do know that people are really working hard on trying to make it so that orchestras can play together safely, or at least minimize your risk. I mean, look, nothing's 100% safe. Even staying at home, you could be bringing in viruses on your groceries.
Right.
So there's no way to be 100% safe. All you can do is minimize risk to the best of your ability and based on your conditions.
But I think I don't know, I'm hopeful. And one thing I've been like realizing doing these interviews is that how just grateful we all should be. I am now for the, like what you're talking about, people working behind the scenes. And and at Pasadena, the admin and the staff are like working 24/7. You know, we're all just kind of whatever. And I just have this whole newfound respect. I never even paid attention to any. I just show up, play my viola, leave. It's like there are people back here that are really working hard to keep these organizations going. So for me, that's been the silver lining of all this is like, wow. And they do it pretty selflessly. And I'm trying to get them on the podcast to like showcase. And they're just kind of like,
I would think that would be great. I would definitely watch that.
Right?
Just giving them a vote of confidence.
Yeah, and really like So that's for me has been a revelation.
Yeah.
And what
sure.
what work you're doing with the RMA and the union, it's just incredible because people could just be like, good luck, see you in a year. But they're not, and it's wonderful.
It feels good because we have a lot of disagreements in our community about many things. I'm sure every community has that. Musicians, we definitely have opinions about the best way to do things. But it's just nice because finally everybody's working towards the same goal.
Right. Finally,
everybody wants to. Nobody wants to get sick. Everybody wants to go back to work. Everybody would like not only to make money for themselves, but everybody wants to see our larger industry not completely tank. So they've been working. It's just kind of nice to talk to people and basically agree. Everybody is really in favor of trying to get music back into the world, especially as people who are locked at home are realizing that music and entertainment are actually really important to their survival. I mean,
absolutely.
You show me anybody who's been locked up at home and hasn't been watching Netflix or at least listening to music. I mean, again, I still don't think we've been deemed essential workers yet. But what's
interesting is that
an awareness of it.
I've deemed music and art in general just essential to my life thanks to this. And I've had many people say, you're so fortunate you actually have something to do during quarantine. And it's like, oh, I didn't think of it like that. But I have a whole new, just like newfound appreciation of what we've all done for so many years, because times like this, it's actually coming in quite useful. And it also the work that we do, like there's definitely going to be production happening at some point. It's like,
yeah, oh yeah, and like I said, rest assured that there are people from all parts of the process that are just working round the clock to make sure that this is going to happen. And I know that, I mean, I don't know if you heard, but the Directors Guild, I don't know which one of them had the sense of humor to do this, but it's the director of the movie Contagion who's been appointed to be the head of the task force for the production side of things.
Oh my gosh. Well,
and of course, doing a recording session is incredibly simple compared to what people are doing on set. And I mean, I can't even imagine how complicated their meetings must be getting.
Oh
but
my gosh.
They are working on it because you have to make money too.
Right. And if anything, it's,
like we said, there's actually a real demand for content.
Yeah. And if anything, it's just a creativity challenge.
You cut out for a second.
Oh. Yeah, it's just a creativity challenge, which apparently that's what we all said we were, creative. So I think it's a great time to like activate that. Like, let's put our minds to work and actually creatively figure this out, which we can do.
Actually, okay, I have a good story for you. The first time I played the first time I ever played with the Pasadena Symphony, I was playing bass oboe. I was hired as a sub to play bass oboe for the Planets.
Oh, of course, the
Planets. The way the orchestra. Yeah, I've played that part now many times. It's one of my specialties. But that was one of the first things that got me in the door with Pasadena. And you know how they have the brass section is kind of on the diagonal and they're aiming in, and I was playing, the fourth oboe part. Well, it's not third oboe plus bass oboe. But anyway, there's 4 players. I was on the end of the row. And I know that when we started in on Mars during the first rehearsal, and then finally the brass came in with their big loud stuff, I almost jumped out of my skin because they were basically all aimed at my left ear. And I almost had a heart attack. And I think I must have physically jumped because right after that, the next time he stopped, Maestro Mester said, "Okay, we need to get a sound shield down there." and that was the first time I'd played for him, and so I was of course completely smitten because I don't think I've ever had a conductor notice the dire need that anybody had for a sound shield. So
that's amazing.
That was very much appreciated. But yeah, I've also don't know that I'd ever had the brass section just aimed in their entirety, basically just aimed straight at me. And as you know, that is an absolutely terrifying piece of music.
Oh yeah, and I know that feeling because I play viola, so they're always aimed right at the back of my head.
Yeah, we should talk. Actually, another Planet story. I was playing bass oboe again playing the exact same thing with Pacific when I was about 8.5 months pregnant with my daughter.
Oh god.
So I think it was probably literally the last gig that I did before I gave birth, and I just remember we were hammering away at Mars, and it's just it's a scary sounding piece, and I just remember kind of like looking down at my belly going, "Oh God, I'm sorry." This poor innocent child has no idea.
Already being traumatized. Okay, so this has been great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.